Why is geometry important? I've got all these videos about trans-dimensionality, and this morning I'm standing there thinking, how is something like geometry relevant to humanness? How is this relevant to me in my situation? How is it going to make me better? Well, unrelated to geometry, everyone needs something that can sustain them emotionally and mentally and physically. It's not just the physical body that needs taken care of, it's the soul. And so you look at these things from a standpoint outside of friendship and love, You look at it as a standpoint of reality and what happens after you die. And there can be a significant joy that can be taken from believing that when you die, you're going to a hyperspatial crystalline world where the chandeliers are made out of 10-dimensional, crystals that are like millions of different colors at once. When you see something like that, when I see something like that, it's often accompanied with a feeling, an emotion that is, happy and good and stuff. And so for someone who is lonely, or for someone who feels like they're sad because they don't have the life they want, it's more along the lines of having something you yourself can use that's not another person, that guarantees that you will have your needs met, because you can't rely on other people. You just simply cannot put your happiness in whether or not someone else is going to be there, because guess what? That's just not how it works. So, with geometry, you can think about things that are relevant to right now, because right now is sort of the apex of the human development and sort of the bridge. It's an illusion. It's not real. The colors that you see and the tastes and the smells, that is all the human body's interpretation of different forms of energy. None of that stuff is actually there. If you zoom in all the way on a green post, you will not see the color green. You will see quarks and vibrating systems of energy. But time itself is based on these changes that are happening within this energy. The amount of time that goes by within a day on Earth is a direct result of the spatial properties that are shared between the sun and the planet and the rest of the solar system. The reason the passage of time happens to us the way we perceive it is because of geometric changes that are going on in reality. You know what I'm saying? So there are applications to geometry beyond trying to view into hyperspace. You know what I'm saying? For example, if something happened 5 minutes ago and you think about projecting it 10 minutes into the future from that perspective, Wait and see what happens when another 5 minutes go by. Because temporal and spatial coordinates contain the energies that are there still. The past is compartmentalized in the human mind, but it's still just as real as the present. If you burn a match, you can't unburn it. You can let enough time go by where the fire goes out, but you can't unburn it. Therefore, syntactically speaking, the past is causally bound to all other moments via a chain of events. So I like to see reality as a grid of cubes, and it stretches outward in all directions. Each cube can be either illuminated or dark, and depending on which cubes are illuminated in this giant grid, different patterns are going to emerge. Just like on a television, you can paint a picture of anything you want with 3 different colored pixels blending together and flashing in a certain pattern. All things that happen in life can be considered behaviors of grid cells that are either on or off. The key to all of this is that the observer, you, are the one who turns the grid cell either on or off. And with your observational powers and your intentions behind your actions, you absolutely guide reality into being what your subconscious mind wants it to be. This is the human experience. When you focus your mind on something, that something becomes more available to you outside of your mind. And this is the one thing that they told us wasn't possible. The one way they said it was, and then they turn around and say mind over matter. But really, mind over matter is the way. Light takes time to travel from A to B. You know what doesn't take time? The emergence of a thought. It's instant. It happens. Our senses, not our 5 senses, but our general mind sense of when you think about somebody and they call you, or when you look up at a stoplight and you can just tell it's about to change and then it does. That is the primary antenna that human beings possess to try to feel out their reality. It is with the human mind that we connect, and it is through the senses that we interpret energy. You know what I'm saying? One comes before the other. So mind and matter are entangled permanently in this physical world. Look no farther than the double slit experiment. You know what I'm saying? If human sight, may it be palpable or may it be a process that happens solely in the human body, somehow influences real energy. And that is how all things work. You know what I'm saying? That is how life in general works. It is the effect that the participant has on the process that, gives it the individual flavor of that person's life. And so you don't have to do anything. You can just continue to do what you were doing and nothing has to change. But you will notice changes that seem uniquely specific to you when you start paying more attention to what's going on and when you start participating in the moment that surrounds you. And so the evolution of time is exactly the key. Because there's a certain feeling that is attained when someone's about to move on, when they're about to turn the page, when they're about to graduate, or whatever. You can sense it. You can feel, okay, when you're in a conversation and it's getting towards the end of a conversation, you somehow know that that's happening, even though it's just words with specific meanings. You somehow know, and so that's the sense. And so what you have to do is you have to reflect on things that have happened and figure out how to complete the puzzle. Because each moment is essentially a puzzle, and some moments require stuff from level 1, 2, 3. Some moments require stuff from level 4, 5, 6. Some moments require nothing because they're already complete. You know what I'm saying? It's just life sometimes seems dull and purposeless. And the reason that is because our brains are so focused on the present moment that we never go back and figure out how to complete things that happened in a different temporal coordinate than the one that is created by our brains and our central nervous systems that we take with us everywhere. You know what I'm saying? And so this whole 5-minute, 10-minute thing is a perfect example. It's a lot easier if you just begin by saying the word wow. Say the word wow and let 10 seconds go by. Let 10 seconds go by, and halfway through those 10 seconds, just remember the word wow. Remember as vividly as you can the thing that just happened 5 seconds ago, with the intention of literally experiencing it 5 seconds in the future. And these symmetries in the flow of time are as real as the symmetries in the orbit of a planet around a star. You can predict where Earth will be in 12 hours, just as if you watch time flow, you can predict things that are going to happen in 5 seconds. And so, to me, it's basically just physics. But you got to think about the evolution of 1 dimension, 2 dimension, 3 dimension, 4, with time being the 4th, and know that somehow 1-dimensional things are contained within the same system as 2, 3, and 4-dimensional things. And this should be enough to blow a physicist's mind, because if you have a container, the things in the container are going to be the same dimensionality as the container. Yet somehow this universe contains several different dimensionalities and combinations of dimensionalities. And it's many, many, many more than 4. It's many, many more than 4. But I can't claim to know why, but for some reason we are here in this temporary existence, as in we will die at the end of our lives. And my best guess is that this is some sort of experiment, some sort of thing to show that we are ourselves. The human experience is like the drop of ink that fell off the quill of God when he was drawing the universe. And it's the ultimate manifestation of what actually exists. It's It's light being refracted into a photon, you know? It's ether being concentrated into physics. And we are just looking into it temporarily, you know, and we're entangled with our bodies until we die, and then we are once again freed back to the state that we were in before we came to be. You know what I'm saying? This life is just a manifestation of self in the most physically possible form, and you realize that outside of all this, you know, you exist in a way that is much more familiar and comfortable and infinite. You know, there's no anxiety or risk or reward or anything like that. It's more just like a blissful being, an essence that just is.